Thank you. Before we start, thank you so much to the IAB and to James. I think this is the first time agencies have been given the opportunity to speak fully at these, so we feel very privileged as the 7stars to be able to be part of this today. Ros and I are going to hopefully over the next 10 minutes or so really take you through our agency mission and hopefully how some of you guys in the room can support us on our agency journey of independence and independent thought. We like to think that we approach every single brief with a really, really bold mindset, something that's really part of our independent DNA. And those of you who know us as an agency, we have a pretty bold mission statement. For us, what fuels our mission is inspiring the exceptional and defeating the bad and the boring. And I know how lofty that sounds and probably how unrealistic that sounds, but hopefully over the next few minutes or so, we're going to talk to you all about how we can really drive that as a business and hopefully how you can support us too. And what sits at the heart of that is what you can see here on the screen. It's the awesome power of independent thought. And independent thought to us means a few things. It means not following convention. It means challenging the status quo. And importantly, asking that question every single day, which is, do things have to be done this way? Can we be looking at this and challenging it and be doing it very differently? Because in a world where everyone thinks alike, everyone is actually thinking the same. You would have seen independent thought, in your day-to-day lives. You'd have seen the likes of McDonald's, how they've revolutionized for the fast food industry. Nike with their partnership, over basketball over that period of time with Air Jordan. What we're going to hopefully take you through today is how we can do it in our everyday lives, our everyday briefs, and those different client challenges that we all have. But before we begin, I'm going to take you through a quick video.
There are people who follow convention, and there are those who redefine them, beating the competition by playing a different game. We believe in the awesome power of independent thought. We believe there's an advantage in asking if things have to be done the way they always have, or if there's another way.
The Speed D system is born, and it's off to the races. And we are an overnight sensation 30 years in the making.
Because playing by the rules of a market leader is usually to play into their hands.
51% of a shoe has to be white. NBA is extremely strict about it. They'll fine him.
They'll fine him?
$5,000 a game.
We're fucked. What about more red? A lot more red. And what about if we just pay the fines?
Independent thinking cuts through the noise.
Hey Scotland, good luck with your Mannschaft, yeah?
Mannschaft, German for football team.
Mannschaft, eh?
Hopefully, I think if you take nothing else away from this 10 minutes, you've seen Matt Damon swearing and the phrase Mannschaft in one video, so you're welcome for that. You're probably thinking, okay, well, how do I make the new McDonald's or make the new Nike in my everyday campaigns? But the good news is, actually, this philosophy of independent thought absolutely pays back when it comes to the campaigns that we're responsible for every day. You'll be familiar probably with the cost of dull research that came out last year, and then the build on that this year with the eye-watering cost of dull media. I've shamelessly stolen some big stats here and kind of smushed them together, but it's telling one consistent story, which is that independent thought and work that really cuts through and isn't afraid to think differently to the norm absolutely works. So creative that actually drives emotion and gets people talking, which is exactly what we mean by independent thought, delivers 6.1 times the share of voice efficiency versus the dull, the boring, the everyday campaigns. And we know how hard it is to come across excess share of voice, so that's really valuable. When it comes to dull media or interesting media, it doesn't pay back if you are being boring and doing the same as always. So cutting through and trying to do something different gives you better conversion in the long term, but also in the short term. And finally, this quite stunning stat from the eye-watering cost of dull media, is that if every pound that we spent worked like our best media, we'd actually reduce wastage by 43p per pound spent. So we absolutely are making more of our budgets and making our campaigns work harder when we apply a philosophy of independent thought. So that's very good. How do we do it? Well, in the cost of dull research, our friend Peter Field, he actually looked at across the whole IPA case data bank, and looked at which campaigns and what was, were really driving fame, really driving that talkability, and what were the consistent threads across them. Conveniently for us at 7stars, he came up with 7 common themes. Between you and me, he did actually come up with an 8th, but we said, shh, Peter. Actually, his eighth factor was a really banging soundtrack, but we've lumped that in with excellent creative. So these nice 7 factors, and I think what we particularly like about it is, yes, there's a lot to play here within the creative messaging and the assets we produce, but there's also a lot to play here in terms of how we behave in media. What it all comes down to is asking yourself a question of, is my campaign being surprising? Is it delivering novelty? And is it driving difference? And that really is a real guiding light for us when we're talking about independent thought, and it's what we look for when we're building our campaigns with partners too. So it's working for the industry? Is it working for us, this philosophy? And we've given you kind of 3 broad case studies here of how it's worked really well. And of course, we're not going to give you the full case study in the time that we've got, but independent thought has absolutely driven the success of all of these campaigns. Hopefully you've seen them pop up in awards recently too. We know how hard those are to get into given the data you need behind it. They all couldn't have happened without the really smart, independent thinking of our partners as well. So I guess I'll talk through the first one, which is People's Postcode Lottery on the left there. You probably haven't been able to escape these ads because they have been everywhere. But in order to tackle a challenge of trust, we thought differently to the pack and partnered with the most trusted touch points in British culture through the likes of Channel 4's Countdown, through Mike Wedderburn on Sky Sports, and through ITV with the likes of The Rover's Return. So bringing the Coronation Street and all of those cultural touch points through to drive trust. It delivered the biggest sales month ever for People's Postcode Lottery. And so and again, that independent thought, thinking differently from the pack and the rest of the category is really working. And it's actually paid off with a lot of award wins as well.
Nice. I'm going to touch on Copperberg, so hopefully some of you have seen this campaign. I can kind of see some of you. I'm hoping some of our friends from Global are in the room because this was an amazing partnership we undertook with those guys. So the independent thought here is summer is absolutely crucial, obviously, for the cider market. There's lots of trendy new competitors opening up every single year, and Copperberg were losing share. We knew summer was important, but we were trying to find what's the real independent thought. It's not just about beer gardens. And what we were finding was, for the Copperberg audience, actually the independent thought was around experiences. That's what summer is all about for that audience. However, over the past few years, as everyone in this room will know, over the last 5 years, the cost of flights and festivals has doubled in the UK. So what did we do? We partnered with Global to create our own. So the Capital Dance Beach Party launched in Malta this year, bringing some lucky people all the way to Malta for an amazing day of festivals and brilliant music. But obviously, of course, there are a lot of the Copperberg audience who couldn't make it to Malta, weren't lucky enough to be chosen. So instead, we worked with Global not just to utilize their talent, but on the day of the festival, we live streamed the event between 3 o'clock and midnight and completely took over this station. So all of those brilliant Copperberg customers could listen and really engage along. There were lots of other activity across audio that obviously ran alongside that, but some of the results were staggering just this year. So the biggest one for me, draft distribution for Copperberg over the summer was up 127% year on year, which is an absolute massive win for them, and hopefully something we can take into next summer.
And finally, deep heat and deep freeze. You probably wouldn't have expected to see those on a campaign that looks like this. You're probably familiar with it being more of a medicine cabinet sort of item, and that was really the independent thought that framed this whole challenge. So the category was absolutely in decline, and we needed to reframe deep heat and deep freeze as an essential for active bodies, not just aging ones. All the ads and all the activity was all about people getting out a tube of deep heat and being able to get back to gardening, and we wanted to change that. So we partnered with Lad Bible and also did a big sponsorship with High Rocks to really completely get people thinking, rethinking about the category, rethinking about deep heat and getting it part of their training regime. And actually, what was really important here was we were really genuinely filling a human need. We were filling a content gap, because nobody in the industry at the time was talking about recovery around High Rocks. It was all just about the performance itself. Value sales increased across the portfolio, and we had a huge uplift in intent to add to people's regimes. So absolutely bucking the trend of the category at the time.
Awesome. So an amazing thanks to not just our clients, but all of our partners in the room. But to try and leave you with 3 things about how you can help us on our independent thought mission moving forward. Number one is don't wait for the brief. I think this is really, really obvious, but sometimes really challenging. If we are, everyone knows, if you work with us as a partner, you know who our clients are, you know the challenges that they have every single year. Don't wait to be briefed. Come and be proactive. Talk to us. If you think that you've got, a real piece of an amazing independent thought that you can bring to us, just do it. Don't wait for us to be briefed. And challenge our thinking. If we're, like every single campaign, if there's something that you feel like is repetitive or something that we should be doing a little bit differently, don't be afraid to challenge us. Challenge our planners, challenge the industry, and really make us think different. And finally, keep it simple. I like all of these events. There's lots of different upfronts that's been going on over the past few weeks. Lots of talk about tools and technology and AI. I think a really important message that we're getting loud and clear from our clients is to keep it simple. Sometimes the independent thought that we come up with is very simple. It's just thinking differently. And sometimes it can be, it can be made overly complex with the addition of unnecessary tools, technology, or whatever that might be. So please also take that one. And when you're engaging with us moving forward, please come and ask us questions, come and chat to us, and if you've got an independent thought that you'd like to share, please do. We would love to hear it. Thank you.
Thank you.